I watched her walk away for the last time through the floor-to-ceiling windows of my penthouse. Jasmine didn't look back. Her shoulders were straight, her head held high, even though I knew I'd just shattered her into a million pieces. The black SUV door closed behind her, and something in my chest cracked so loud, I thought the whole building heard it. That was 6 months ago. And every single day since then has been hell. My name is Park Min-ho, and I'm worth about $3 billion. That's what the magazines say. Anyway, CEO of one of Korea's fastest-growing tech companies, Forbes 30 under 30. All that garbage that's supposed to mean something. But you know what $3 billion can't buy? A time machine. Can't undo the worst decision of your life. Can't bring back the only woman who ever really saw you. I met Jasmine 2 years ago at a fashion expo in Paris. I wasn't even supposed to be there. My assistant had dragged me along because apparently I needed to network beyond the tech bubble. I was bored out of my mind, checking my phone every 5 minutes, when I heard this laugh. Not a polite, hand-over-mouth giggle. A real laugh, loud and unapologetic. The kind that makes you want to know what's so funny. She was standing in front of her collection display, talking to a journalist, her hands moving in these big, animated gestures. She wore this burgundy dress that hugged every curve, and her natural hair was styled in this crown of curls that caught the light. She was beautiful. The kind that punches you right in the gut. "You're staring," my assistant whispered. "I'm observing," I said. "You're drooling." I walked over. Didn't even know what I was going to say. She turned before I got there, and our eyes met, and I swear something shifted in the universe right then. "Can I help you?" she asked, one eyebrow raised. "I don't know," I said honestly. "I just heard you laugh and had to come over here." She studied me for a second, then smiled. "Well, that's either really charming or really creepy. I haven't decided yet." "Fair enough. I'm Min-ho. Jasmine. And before you ask, yes, I designed all of this. Yes, it's for plus-sized women. And no, I don't need investment advice." I laughed. "Actually, I was going to ask if you wanted to get coffee." "Now?" "Why not?" She looked at me like I was insane. "Because I'm literally in the middle of one of the biggest moments of my career?" "Right. Terrible timing." "What about dinner then? After you're done being brilliant?" And that smile. God, that smile could light up all of Paris. "Dinner. 8 o'clock. Don't be late, tech boy." I wasn't. And that dinner turned into breakfast, which turned into 3 days of me rearranging my entire schedule to stay in Paris. We talked about everything, her dreams of revolutionizing fashion, my complicated relationship with family expectations, what it meant to build something from nothing. She told me about growing up in Atlanta, about designing her first dress at 13, about every door that had been slammed in her face because she didn't look like what the industry expected. They kept telling me to lose weight if I wanted to be taken seriously, she said over wine at 3 in the morning. Like my body was the problem, not their narrow minds. "Their loss," I said. "Damn right." She clinked her glass against mine. "What about you? What do your parents think about you building tech empires?" I hesitated. "They think it's acceptable. As long as I remember who I am, where I come from. And who are you? I'm still figuring that out." She reached across the table and took my hand. "Well, when you figure it out, I hope he's someone who makes you happy." 3 months later, I proposed. My mother nearly had a heart attack. "You met her where?" "Paris?" "Min-ho, do you understand what you're doing? She's not Korean. She's not from a good family. She's the woman I love," I said. "Love?" Father laughed. "Love is not a business strategy, son. Marriage is about alliance, about continuing the family name properly. This woman, she will never be accepted. You will embarrass us." But I didn't care. For the first time in my life, I chose what I wanted. We got married in a small ceremony in Jeju Island. Just us, a few friends, the ocean, and forever. For a year, it was perfect. Jasmine moved to Seoul, started building connections in the Korean fashion scene. She'd wake me up at dawn, pulling me out of bed to watch the sunrise from our balcony. "Look at that," she'd say, wrapped in my arms. That's us. Brand new every morning. Cheesy. I'd murmur into her hair. You love it. I did. God, I loved everything about her. The way she'd dance in the kitchen while cooking. How she'd fall asleep reading design magazines. The little notes she'd leave in my briefcase. Kick some CEO ass today, baby. Her confidence. Her warmth. Her absolute refusal to shrink herself for anyone, but the pressure never stopped. Every family dinner was a battlefield. My mother would make these little comments, nothing overt, just enough to sting. Jasmine, dear, perhaps a bit less on the plate? You know, for health. Mother, I'd start. No, it's fine, Jasmine would say, her smile tight. I'm perfectly healthy. Thanks for asking. At business events, I'd see the way people looked at us. The whispers, my board members questioning my judgment, investors making jokes they thought I couldn't hear, and slowly, like poison, it got into my head. What if they're right? What if I'm being selfish? What if this hurts the company? What if I'm destroying everything I built? The thoughts got louder. My mother's voice got louder. And I got weaker. The breaking point came at my father's birthday celebration. 400 guests, Seoul's elite, everyone who mattered in Korean business. Jasmine wore this stunning navy dress she'd designed herself. She looked like royalty. But I saw it. All night, I saw it. The stares, the judgment. My mother's friends huddled together, glancing at Jasmine and whispering. My father's cold shoulder. The way people would congratulate me on the business, and then quickly change subjects when Jasmine approached. After the party, in the car, she was quiet. You okay? I asked. Am I embarrassing you, Minho? What? No. Why would you? Because you barely touched me all night. You kept, I don't know, keeping distance between us. Like you were ashamed. That's not true. Isn't it? She turned to me, and there were tears in her eyes. I see how they look at us. At me. I'm not stupid. And I see how you're starting to look at me too. Like you're wondering if they're right. Jasmine? Just tell me the truth. Are you having second thoughts? I should have said no. I should have pulled her close and told her she was my whole world. Instead, I said nothing. And that silence said everything. The next morning, my mother showed up in our apartment, unannounced. We need to talk, she said, brushing past me. Alone. Whatever you have to say, you can say in front of Jasmine. I replied. Fine. The board is concerned. Your marriage is affecting the company's reputation. We're losing conservative investors. Your father's colleagues are questioning your judgment. This needs to end. Excuse me? Jasmine stood up from the couch. You seem like a nice girl. But you don't belong in this world. Surely you can see that. We're prepared to offer you a substantial sum. Leave, I said. Minho. Be reasonable. Leave my house. But the damage was done. After she left, Jasmine looked at me with these empty eyes. She's offering to pay me to leave you. She's insane. Ignore her. But she's right. Isn't she? I don't belong here. I'm hurting your career. Your family hates me, and you. Her voice cracked. You're too tired to keep fighting for us. That's not true, isn't it? When was the last time you defended me? When was the last time we were actually happy? I couldn't answer. Because she was right. Over the next month, things fell apart. We barely talked. I threw myself into work, stayed late at the office, avoided going home. And Jasmine, my beautiful, vibrant Jasmine, started dimming. The light in her eyes got fainter. Then came the ultimatum. My father called me into his office. Divorce her, or we're removing you from the company. The board voted. This is not negotiable. You can't do this. We just did. You have 1 week to decide what matters more, your marriage or everything you've built. I went home that night, and Jasmine was packing. What are you doing? I asked. Making this easier for you, she said without looking up. I'm going back to Atlanta for a while. Give you space to think. Jasmine, stop. No, Minho. I'm done watching you choose them over me every single day. I'm done being the problem in your perfect life. So, I'm going to remove myself from the equation. That's not what I want. She finally looked at me. Then what do you want? Say it. Right now. What do you want? And I froze. I opened my mouth, and nothing came out, because I didn't know anymore. I was so twisted up, so confused, so beaten down by expectations that I couldn't remember what I wanted. That's what I thought, she whispered. Goodbye, Minho. Wait. I love you. I will always love you. But I love myself more. And I'm not going to keep breaking myself to fit into your world. She walked out. And I let her. 2 weeks later, I signed the divorce papers. Told myself it was for the best. That we wanted different things. That it wasn't meant to be. All the lies people tell themselves when they're too cowardly to fight for what matters. For the first month, I was numb. Threw myself into work. The board was happy. My parents were relieved. The investors came back. Everything was back to normal. Except I couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat. Couldn't focus. Everything reminded me of her. The sunrise. The kitchen. The empty side of the bed. Then, 3 months after the divorce, I saw her on the news. Atlanta native Jasmine Cole has just signed the biggest fashion deal of the year, partnering with 3 major retailers to launch her inclusive design line. The collection, called Unapologetically Me, celebrates women of all sizes and has already garnered millions in pre-orders. She was on the screen, radiant, glowing, more beautiful than ever, and she was smiling, the way she used to smile with me. I learned something important this year, she was telling the interviewer. I learned that you can't shrink yourself to fit into someone else's vision. You have to be bold enough to take up space, to be unapologetically yourself. And when you do that, the right people will celebrate you, not tolerate you. I felt sick. Because I knew. I knew she was talking about me, about us, about how I made her feel like she needed to be, smaller, quieter, less. The next month, she was in Vogue, then Forbes, then she gave a TED Talk about self-worth that went viral. Her face was everywhere, her success was undeniable, and with each new headline, each new achievement, the knife in my chest twisted deeper. I tried to date. My mother set me up with appropriate women, daughters of her friends, women who checked all the boxes Korean, from good families, educated, demure, and every single one bored me to tears. They agreed with everything I said, never challenged me, never made me laugh the way Jasmine did. They were perfect on paper and empty in reality. 5 months after the divorce, Jasmine came back to Seoul. She was opening her first flagship store in Gangnam, making a statement in the city that rejected her. I saw the announcement on Instagram. She looked like a queen in the photos. I showed up at the opening, stayed in the back, hidden in the crowd. Watched her work the room, confident and graceful. She'd always been beautiful, but now she was untouchable. Powerful in a way that had nothing to do with money or status, and everything to do with knowing exactly who she was. She didn't see me, or maybe she did, and chose not to acknowledge me. Either way, it hurt. That night, I got drunk, and I called her. Her voice was cautious. Jasmine, it's me. Silence. Then, I know. What do you want, Minho? What did I want? I saw your store opening. Congratulations. Thank you. You look happy. I am happy. Good. That's good. I could hear music in the background. People laughing. She was at a party. Living her life. Without me, I made a mistake. Yes, you did. I should have fought for you. For us. I should have told them all to go to hell and chosen you. You're right. You should have. Can we talk? About maybe. No. That one word hit like a bullet. Jasmine, please. You know what the worst part was? Her voice was steady, controlled. It wasn't the divorce. It wasn't your family hating me. It was watching you give up. Watching the man I loved turn into a coward right in front of me. That's what broke me, Minho. Not the end, but the surrender. I know I was weak. But I'm different now. I've learned. You've learned? Wonderful. I'm so glad my pain was educational for you. The sarcasm was sharp. You know what I learned? That I deserve someone who chooses me the first time. Every time. Without hesitation. Someone who's proud to stand beside me, not someone who treats me like a liability. I was proud. No. You were scared. And when it mattered, you saved yourself and left me drowning. So no, Minho, we can't talk. We can't try again. Because I did the work. I healed. I rebuilt myself. And I'm not going back into the fire just because you finally realized it's cold out here. Jasmine. She hung up. I stared at my phone, tears running down my face. This was it. This was what regret felt like. Not the sad nostalgia in movies, but this gut-wrenching, suffocating realization that I'd destroyed the best thing in my life with my own hands. A week later, I did something stupid. I gave an interview to a major Korean business magazine. They asked about my success, my vision, the usual questions. But at the end, they asked about my personal life. I was married, I said, to an incredible woman, Jasmine Cole, the fashion designer. And I let her go because I was a coward, because I cared more about what people thought than about the person who actually loved me. So if there's any advice I can give to your readers, it's this. When you find someone who sees you and loves you anyway, fight for them. Fight like hell. Because regret tastes a lot worse than your family's disappointment. The interview went viral. Of course it did. The cold, calculating Park Min-ho admitting to heartbreak. Admitting he was wrong? Everyone had an opinion. But Jasmine didn't call, and I didn't expect her to. 6 months after the divorce, she was in Seoul again for Fashion Week. I saw pictures she was glowing, wearing one of her own designs, surrounded by models and celebrities. Someone had tagged her in a photo at dinner, laughing with friends. I realized something then. She didn't need me to be happy. She'd found happiness without me. All those months I'd spent thinking about her, missing her, regretting she'd been moving forward. Building. Creating. Thriving. And I was still stuck in the moment I let her walk away. The truth is, some mistakes don't get fixed. Some chances don't come twice. You can be sorry. You can learn. You can change. But the person you hurt doesn't owe you their forgiveness. They don't owe you a second chance. They don't owe you anything. Jasmine taught me what love looks like. Real love. The kind that's brave and bold and doesn't apologize for existing. And I taught her what she deserved: someone better than me. Someone who wouldn't need to lose her to realize her worth. Last week, I saw her interviewed again. The host asked if she'd ever marry again. Maybe, she said, that beautiful smile on her face. When I meet someone who loves me as loudly as I love myself. When I meet someone who sees my worth without needing to lose me first. Until then, I'm perfectly happy building my empire and living my truth. I turned off the TV. Because I knew that man would never be me. I have $3 billion.